This is a real job. And I didn't come into DJing to party and go meet dudes and, drink a whole bunch and do a lot of drugs and just have fun. Just make sure that you're a professional. You know what you're doing. You're the best at your craft. And if no one's letting you into their little club or clique, it's okay. You are enough for your fans. Just do what you do and make sure you put your all into it.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Headliner Mindset Podcast. Before we jump into this week's episode, I just want to remind everyone that the next round of the Headliner Mindset coaching group is starting on Monday, July 22nd. We've got about 2 to 3 spots left. So if you're looking to get support on your artist journey, get help navigating the music business, really dial in your mindset, and do it all with a badass community of other artists, I'd love to have you join us. Go to nikcherwink.com/headliner mindset for more info. I'll put that link in the show notes as well. Now, for our guest today, she is a total powerhouse rock star DJ who has been in the game for over 15 years. She is a true pioneer who has been leading the charge to put hardstyle on the map in the United States while also fighting against the EDM boys club, making sure that female DJs get a seat at the table. This is Lady Faith. Faith, welcome to the Headliner Mindset Podcast. Very happy to have you here.
Happy to be here.
First off, I want to shout out to Corinne Burrows. She is a new manager that you're working with. Corinne and I did an episode together. For anyone that has not listened to the episode with Corinne, go back and listen to that. Go back and watch that. She is a badass, total gangster when it comes to the music business. But yeah, she reached out and she's like, hey, you should talk to this artist I just started working with. And I was like, all right, I know the name. Lady Faith, I know the name. I heard that before. And then I got to go to EDC this year, and she's like, we're going to be out there. I'm like, okay, let me swing by and pop in for the set. And I remember coming up through the backstage, getting to walk up the stairs. And then I walked on stage, and I was just like, holy shit, this girl is a rock star. This girl is a straight up rock star, killing it on the hardstyle stage, standing on the decks with your like high heels and like bedazzled outfit. And I was like, oh yeah, okay, I see what's going on here. This girl's a total rock star. So I am honored to have a rock star on the show today.
You're too kind.
So I would really love to hear your story. I would love to hear a bit about how you got to where you are today. Because I know that you were born in Iran and moved here. How old were you when you moved to the States?
I was 7. Very young.
7.
Yeah.
Okay, very young. And then did you grow up in like a musical household? Like what were your early musical influences? When did you start getting into music?
Well, my parents always loved music, especially my mom. So growing up, I was exposed to all sorts of different music. They loved a lot of 70s, 80s music. And, they played that a lot in the house. They also played a lot of traditional Persian music with the traditional instruments, which have always inspired me. But just being Persian, rhythm runs through our veins. I swear, I always say this. If at any point, anywhere, literally anywhere, someone starts clapping, all the other Persians start dancing and clapping, and someone starts singing, and it's just who we are. We love to party. We love to dance. We love music. So I've always loved it. Like from the minute I opened my eyes, I've been in music until now.
Yeah. It's in your blood. It's in your DNA. I get that. I just shared recently, my mom actually was an African dance teacher. And so I grew up literally in the womb going to like dance classes with live drummers. And like, I came out the womb, like banging on pots and pans and drums and stuff. Like I was baked in an oven of rhythm, so it's in my blood and DNA as well. So did you play instruments and stuff growing up? Like when did you know that you wanted to be an artist and you knew that this was the path that you wanted to go down?
Well, I did play instruments. In middle school, I started playing the clarinet. When I went to high school, my father got me a teacher to teach me how to play the guitar. And I've always wanted to be in music somehow, some way. But it was in my early 20s, or actually late teens, is when I was exposed to the DJs and, electronic music and all of that. And that's when I knew that was my calling.
Yeah. Yeah. And so what was your exposure to that? Where did you grow up in the States? Like what city were you living in where you got introduced to dance music culture?
Well, the dance music culture was really in LA when I got exposed to it.
Yeah.
Although I did grow up in Portland, Oregon, and my father used to own a humongous Mexican restaurant. And it was like 2 stories, and they had like live music all the time, which was very interesting. I learned how to like dance salsa and all of that and be exposed to that
Yeah.
kind of music, which was very good.
Yeah.
And then there was a concert hall right across the street from his restaurant. So they asked my dad if they could use his liquor license to, have, serve liquor and stuff in their venue. And I used to go there because we catered all of their events, and I got to meet all of the musicians that came to that concert hall, which was very interesting. I got to meet a lot of different kind of people. But when I moved to LA after I turned 18, I started going clubbing using my sister's passport. And I saw a female DJ in LA, and she blew my mind. She absolutely blew my mind. I was the person who was standing in the middle of the dance floor with my mouth open, just staring at her while everyone's dancing and doing their thing. And I was just so mesmerized by her. I didn't know that was a possibility for me until I saw her. And I think she knows that she did a world of good for me that day. And that's how I got started into it. I went and bought turntables, a bunch of records, and started practicing.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Do you remember who that was? Who that DJ was?
Yes, of course. Lisa Lashes, the queen.
Lisa Lashes. And
she's from the UK.
do you think that it was important, like if it was a male DJ, that you would have had the same effect? Or was it that like, this is a woman up there and I'm a woman too and I can do this as well? Was that a piece of it, you think?
100%. Because until that point, I had seen a lot of male DJs and it never really clicked for me. But when I saw her, that's when I knew that this was an actual thing that I could do. And it was a possibility because I was seeing it right in front of my face. If she can do it, then I can do it. So I'm so grateful to her and all the other female DJs that have basically shown the light to other girls out there to let them know that, you know, you can be in this industry, you can, you know, be a musical person and become a producer, a DJ, and, you know, make this into a real career.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. I love that. And I want to take a moment as well to celebrate and acknowledge you for saying yes to that path, yes to that journey, having the courage to go for it. Because I can only imagine how many other female artists and DJs you've now inspired along the way in your career. I'm sure you get messages and DMs all the time from people probably telling you the same thing now.
I do. Many.
Yeah, that's
from
awesome.
Women and men. I mean, a lot more female, you know, fans contact me, but there's a lot of male, you know, fans that also contact me and want me to listen to their music and want advice. A bunch of them have asked me to train them how to be a DJ, and I'm like, I would love to, but I don't have the time.
Yeah. So how long ago was that? Like when you first got into it? Like when did you first start DJing?
Professionally, 15 years ago.
Okay. So 15 years ago, there were a lot less women than there are now. Not that there's still necessarily a lot of women, but probably a lot more than there were back then 15 years ago as well. When you decided to kind of pursue that path, were you really in general supported, or do you feel like people were kind of like, you're crazy that you want to be a DJ? You know, like what was the general kind of consensus around that?
No, I wasn't supported at all, actually. Not by my family at all. They thought I was crazy and this is never going to happen. And what is DJing anyways? It's not an actual like job and it's not going to be lucrative for you and all of that. But I did have one person who has always believed in me, and, you know, he's always been around, and he is my family, and he's my significant other. Basically, we've been together for many years, and he is the one and only person who has always believed in me and who's always been the rock behind me. and who's always made sure that even when I've had, because there's a lot of stress and issues that come up in this business, that, that I always pick myself back up and keep it moving and keeps encouraging me. So I had that, but it took a while for my family to actually come around and say, oh, okay, we get it now. And I'm like, well, thanks. I needed your support back then.
Yeah, you had to show them the paycheck. You're like, okay, here it is. It's actually working, right? That's usually when they come around. I've seen that happen many times before. The parents think you're crazy, and then you come back, you're like, hey, actually, I just made more money than you do in a fucking weekend. It's like,
exactly.
Okay. All right, we get it now. And I love, you said the magic word as you were describing that support that you have, which is you have a rock. You got a rock in your corner, right?
Yes.
I think that's so important. And that's also a common thing that I see as I kind of look at a lot of the most successful, men and women that I know. It's like, hey, I had that kind of ride or die, just like support system, that rock. What's his name?
Robin.
All right. Big shout out to Robin. Robin the Rock.
Robin the Rock.
Robin the Rock holding it down. We love that. We love that. Yes. Okay, so you moved to LA when you were 18. Why did you move to LA at 18? Did you know that you were wanting to pursue the entertainment industry, or were you just, I'm trying to get the hell out of Portland? Like, what was the inspiration to move there?
I was trying to get the hell out of Portland.
Yeah, I get that.
I couldn't deal with the rain anymore. I've had enough. My hair is not built for the rain. It gets so frizzy. I couldn't do it. And plus, LA is, all the Persians are here. Everything is here. There's you go to Westwood, and in Westwood, not the UCLA side, but, the other side of it is all Persian restaurants and shops. And, you just kind of feel at home a little bit more than anywhere else in the world. Plus, the weather really helps. And I have a lot of family here, just a ton of family in Los Angeles, Orange County, San Diego. So it kind of just made sense. And then after I moved here, my older sister was already here. I came here, and then my parents also moved here.
Cool.
So, yeah. Everyone little by little.
Had the whole family, but Big Sis was already down here too. So I'm sure that helped a little bit, right? Not completely here on your own. Great.
No, thank God.
Okay. So then you decide you want to get into DJing, and this is back in vinyl DJing. Era, right?
Yes.
Like this was before MP3s, beat syncing and stuff like that, right? This is some real OG crate digging stuff. And was it always hardstyle? Like, I'm curious about when you discovered specifically like the hardstyle path. When did you find that love? Or was that always there from the beginning? Or was that like further into your DJing journey?
Well, I've always loved hard music. Hard music has been a thing for me from the beginning. And when I saw Miss Lashes, performing, she was spinning hard house and hard trance, which is, the reason why I went to the club to see her was because she was playing the UK, basically hard dance that I loved so much. And that's what I started with. I was full on into UK hard dance, and specifically, as I said, hard house and hard trance, which the hard house very much sounds like the new hard techno. You could kind of say, the new hard techno is a bit of old school hardstyle, and I feel like UK hard house kind of squished together. That's become the new hard techno, but that's besides the point. So that's how I started. And for a few years, I played those genres until they kind of started dying down. And I was introduced to hardstyle I went to an event. Actually, I was playing at an event, and I saw an Italian DJ named DJ Vortex, and he was playing the old school, classic hardstyle. And I was just like, wow, what is this? That the kicks are the most powerful kicks that I've ever heard. And it had these glorious melodies that come with it. So it took the best parts, which is the gorgeous melodies of hard trance, and they had the kicks that were the hard house kind of kicks elevated to just be way better and more powerful. And I was like, this is it. So I started playing a little half and half of what I used to do before, and a little bit of hardstyle. And then within just a few months, hardstyle fully took over for me. Yeah, it's very infectious.
Yeah, and it took over for you, but it hasn't necessarily been a genre that has taken over the radio airwaves or the scene in general. Like, it's always been this sort of smaller subgenre, it's traditionally been a lot bigger in Europe, right? Did you ever have, like, I'm curious about coming up and as an American hardstyle DJ, did you ever have the pull or the draw as you started getting deeper into it to go to Europe where it was a bit more prevalent?
Yes. Well, yes. They asked me multiple times to go to Europe, and I would have such a massive career over there if I actually moved. But
Yeah.
I'm American, Well, the thing is that, being born in Iran and experiencing that, and then having my family bring me here and growing up here and understanding the freedoms and everything that kind of came with it makes me love this country maybe more than someone who's actually born here.
Yeah.
I have this incredible appreciation and love for this country, and I didn't want to leave. I did not want to leave. This is my home. I identify as an American. Sometimes I even call myself an American Iranian because this place gave me everything that I've always dreamed of. So when they said, come to, Netherlands and live here and you'll have a huge career, yeah, that sounded really good, but it wasn't America. And I didn't think I was ever going to be fully satisfied by living in another country. So I decided I'm going to stay here and I'm going to do absolutely everything in my power to develop the scene in America because it was almost non-existent. And that's exactly what I did.
Yeah. I resonate with that a lot. I live in Austin, Texas now. I left California. I left LA. I spent 13 years in LA. So LA was home. I'm born and raised California.
Wow.
LA was home for a long time. And I totally agree that the melting pot of culture that's there is something really special. And of course, being part of the, electronic music scene and just the music industry in general. And then I moved out to Austin, and I love it out here. There's also a really great, different culture, but there's a beautiful culture here as well. A culture around just community and friendship, and people are really open. And I was missing that connection to the scene, and I was really feeling pulled to come back to LA. And then I kind of realized, I'm like, wait a minute, there's like an up and coming scene here as well, just electronic music. And I was like, I could go back to LA where it's very, prevalent and most of the industry is there. I was like, or I could stay here and kind of help build the Austin scene and the community that's developing here. So that was a decision that I made, to stay out here, at least for now. We'll see. I might end up back in the madness of LA, because I still am a California boy at heart. But I totally get that of like, yes, like actually be a pioneer and be an innovator of something new and growing versus jumping into what's, I'm not going to say oversaturated, but like where all the action already is. It's like a very clear kind of fork in the road.
Definitely. It was not easy by any means because we don't really have our own, like, for example, with bass music, there's so many artists in America that play bass music. So, their scene being able, everyone being able to like contribute to the scene and grow it massively is so much easier than me just kind of being by myself and having a few other artists that, were doing it. But because all of us were playing like very underground shows, no one even knew that we existed, our music existed. So that's kind of where Insomniac and Pasquale Rotella comes in. And I love them forever because they made all of our dreams come true.
Yeah. How so? Tell me about that.
Well, what happened was that I don't think I've ever told this story to anyone, but in 2012, Q Dance came here and they had a stage at EDC Las Vegas. And it was my first time playing EDC Las Vegas, the most exciting thing ever that had happened in my career. So after that, I got invited by the Q Dance booker to go play DEF CON 1, which is, the mecca of all hardstyle lovers. It's one of the greatest events I've ever attended, honestly. So when October came around, I decided to go back to Netherlands, get to know everyone a little bit more, and attend ADE, or ADE, as they like to say it.
I haven't heard that before, but that's
yes,
good.
It's ADE. On the way back home, I saw Pasquale on the plane, and I was like, I have to say hello to him and introduce myself. I had seen him in passing in like clubs and stuff before that, but I had never, I'm very shy. I know people see me on stage and I'm like, kind of crazy and rowdy, but me,
Yeah.
I'm very shy. So, anyways, we got to LA. We were standing waiting for our bags, and he was just there. So I went and I shook his hand. I introduced myself and I said, I'm a hardstyle artist. I'm American, and thank you for having us at EDC Las Vegas. And I so appreciate you. And he looked at me with question mark on his face, and he's like, yeah, nice to meet you. After I came outside of the airport and we're trying to go get a taxi to go home, he came after me and he's like, do you want a job? And I was like, me? What exactly? And he's like, I really like this hardstyle thing and I think we could do something with it. So I said, yes, absolutely. We exchanged phone numbers. And then once I got home, I contacted my agent and I mentioned this to him and put him in contact with Pasquale. And that's how the development of BassCon came about.
Wow.
So in end of like 2012, early 2013 is when we all, developed the BassCon. And I remember my agent contacted me and, we were kind of talking about who to book for the 3 days of EDC coming up. And what Insomniac did was they created this huge, beautiful stage with a guy with a gas mask holding a daisy.
Yeah.
That was the very first BassCon stage at EDC Las Vegas. And, with an enormous amount of effort by Insomniac, Pasquale, of course, my ex-agent, and myself, and the American artists, we have been able to develop this sound and make it as big as to what you witnessed basically at EDC.
Wow, that is such a cool story. I'm so glad you shared that with me because I was actually working with Pasquale in 2012 as well on the Discovery Project. That was it was a small side stage, but it was like a talent scout kind of competition where it was, submit your track and your mix and we would listen to everybody and put these like up and coming artists we would discover them and put them on the Discovery Project stage. And I remember, because I think I went to EDC the year before as well. Yeah, that would have been 2011 when Q Dance did their thing. Mm-hmm. And it was like, holy shit. First off, like, what is this sound? As I kind of had heard, it was like just dun, dun, dun. Like, what is going on over there? There's a fucking party happening at this stage. But then the production too was like, whoa, this is a crazy. It was just different. It was different. The production was different. It was wild. And I think then I started going on YouTube and seeing like Q dance parties over in Europe and being like, whoa, with like volcanoes and just like the epic intro, like welcome to this, land of hardstyle. I was like, this is a totally different, different scene in a different culture compared to, the trance or house or bass or whatever was happening. And then I remember seeing the next year with the BassCon thing pop off as well, and it was like, ooh, there's a new kid on the block. Like there's a new there's a new face in this scene now. So that's cool to hear that you played a role in all of that and you were behind that. Yeah.
I was determined from day one. I was determined to make something here, be a part of developing this sound here. Because again, as I mentioned before, I love America so much and I love living here. And I don't want to ever have to be forced to move somewhere else just to be able to play what I love the most.
That's so cool. I love that you have a mission. You have a mission that's bigger than just like, I want to have a career for myself and be able to survive making music. It's like, it's bigger than you. You're being a leader in the scene and coming from a place of service, coming from a place of there's something bigger than me happening here that I want to contribute to and be a part of. And I think that, correct me if I'm wrong, but there's just a different energy that comes with that. When it's just about how can I build my career and make as much money as I can and play the biggest shows that I can, and it's all about me, then we're being driven by our ego. And that has a very different kind of energy than when you're being driven by what I would call service, right? I'm here to contribute to something bigger than me. I'm here to build the scene, put smiles on people's faces. For me, I'm a professional life coach for DJs. So it's like my goal is to help as many people as possible and see them succeed and help them, grow their individual scenes as well. So it gets you out of bed differently than when you're just chasing your own goals.
It really does. It's never always been about me personally. I've always wanted to be in the business of helping others and making others happy. And I noticed very early on that by me doing all of this and putting so much effort into it, that not only I was going to benefit from this, but there were so many other people, from the artists to the fans to the promoters, everyone. And exactly what you said. It's a different kind of happiness that it brings. And now that I see these events, and I'm not in all the events and I don't want to be in all the events, but I see the events, I see the new artists coming from Europe, or I see different artists in America, doing this sound. And having these massive festivals and these opportunities to be on these really big stages, it warms my heart. It makes me so happy. I'm so incredibly grateful to have been able to, help open these doors for them so they can do what they love the most and just be happy and put their best forward. So it's been extremely rewarding, very stressful. I tell you, it has not been easy by any means. I mean, I've had to fight every single day for the past 15 years to be able to be here and do what I do, but I would never change it. I would do it again. Absolutely. All over.
That's what I would call being on your hero's journey, right? There's this story of the hero's journey. That's a very common underlying thread of the plot of any great movie, that's any great adventure movie that's ever been made. There's a call to adventure by the hero. Something is calling them, and they decide to leave their comfortable little village that they're living in and go off on this journey to, save the princess or slay the dragon or whatever the thing is, right? And the thing is, when you are on your hero's journey, a hero is not out for their own personal gain. The hero is out there to save the fucking world, right? To save the princess, to do something that's bigger than themselves. And they are willing to sacrifice their own life for it. Yeah. They're willing to do the hard things. They're willing to suffer. They're willing to go through the pain. As you said, it's been a fight, right? When it's just about you, it's like, okay, cool. Like, I'm going to just do what feels good. I'm going to just do what feels comfortable, right? And the other part that I really love was you said there's a different kind of happiness that it brings you. And I think that's so important to look at, because there are a lot of moments of happiness that you can get when you have your own personal success. It's like, oh, that was a fun night out at my show. That was a fun night. Or that was a nice check that I just got from that promoter. But all of that is fleeting. You still gotta go back to your hotel room by yourself. You still gotta fly back to home and go take out the fucking trash when you get home. It's like there's those peak moments, and I hear a lot of artists talk about that, the challenge of the up and down. But when you have, those that's a certain type of happiness that you get from that. But you're getting to tap into a different kind of happiness, which is knowing that, like, I'm actually making a fucking difference in the world. I'm actually making a difference in this scene. And that kind of happiness is so much more sustainable. That's going to be what keeps you going, even when, like, oh, damn, I got to get on another flight, or I got to do another thing. And, your body's breaking down, your mind's breaking down. But when you know that you're actually making a difference and it's for something that's bigger than you, like, that's what's going to keep you going. Because let's be honest, we see a lot of people that get caught up in the bullshit. A lot of people that they are just out there chasing the money, chasing the party. And it's like, all right, that's why your career is 4 years instead of 15 years. And you're just still getting warmed up, baby. You're still just barely getting started.
Oh, I have plans. I have big plans. Big plans. And all I can say to you right now is that I'm going to try everything in my power to make hard dance, especially hardstyle, way bigger in America, way bigger in America, because it deserves it. We have been standing by, waiting, for our moment to shine. And I think what has happened in the world recently is that people are loving the harder styles of music. So I think we have a great opportunity to show what we have to, a bigger audience throughout America, or North America, you could say. And I'm really looking forward to it. For me, it's always about promoting the sound.
Yeah. What do you think it will take to grow it even further and really take it to the next level?
Well, I think, we need to make it into like other events that maybe don't have hardstyle, and really put our best foot forward. Because, you don't go into, you can't introduce hardstyle to people by pounding them in the head with like the most extreme, crazy form of hard dance. You got to kind of like ease people into it. And I specialize in that because I've been developing this for many, many years. So I just feel like if the promoters of other events that don't have a hardstyle just give us a chance, and see the crowd reaction and see what we can play, excuse me, what we can play as far as euphoric hardstyle goes, which is the most gorgeous form of hard dance out there. It has the powerful kicks, and it has the most glorious melodies you've ever heard. And it's really all very well put together. It's like none of us can really actually create a hardstyle track in one day. There's so much that goes into it. I call it the classical music of EDM because there's like all these different instruments, so many different layers. All the instruments are speaking to each other. It's very in-depth and complex. And I just would like promoters to really give us a chance and really listen to us, and not think that just because you hear the word hardstyle, that it is some crazy, 200 BPM, bam, 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 pound you in the head. Oh my God. Not at all. This is not what you guys think at all. Hardstyle is a beautiful genre, and please give us a chance. Let us show you what we have, and maybe you'll change your mind, because, people like it harder and faster nowadays. So if you're looking for dollar signs, it's there.
For sure. I still am a big metalhead, but my first intro to electronic music, it was trance. And it was because I made the connection with a lot of the heavy metal that I like. It's actually very musically intelligent. It's melodies, and it's really the melodies. I love lead guitar parts. And I was like, oh, I made that connection with trance. And that's what it was for me when I did hear hardstyle. I was like, it was those big, like, it's like, that big thump and kick, but really beautiful, synthy trance style melodies on top of it. That's a good starting point. And I think Lady Faith is the place to start. I see you sneaking in some pop remixes, and it's like, okay, this is palatable. I can handle this. I had my man Lil Texas on here early on when I started the podcast, and I fucking love him. And I even told him, I'm like, bro, I love you and I love your brand, but your music is too much, bro. I haven't graduated to that level yet. You know what I mean? Like, you got to warm up. That's like, we're gonna start you off with like maybe a nice little margarita or a Truly or something before you just start drinking like whiskey straight. We gotta warm people up to that. So I feel you on that.
Yeah. But no, he's great. I think he's an amazing addition to the hard dance scene in America. So, it's nice to have a variety of different artists. So he's great for the scene.
What it's just is exactly it. It's having American artists on the map that are letting them know like, hey, we're here, right? And I think I've talked a bit about, I'm gonna just keep shouting out all the other awesome episodes that I've done so far, but a really great episode with Joe Wiseman from Insomniac Music Group. He runs the record label. We were talking about how drum and bass is really having its moment right now.
Yes.
Right? Drum and bass is like, there's like this little shift that just happened very recently where it's like, wait a minute, drum and bass is really having its moment. But it also is because it's like the style of production it's like there's this American sort of flavor to it. It's like the bass music production that we're familiar with. There is the more kind of traditional UK style of drum and bass, but the actual flavor of the production itself has changed, where we're like, oh, those are sounds that we're familiar with. Maybe the tempo's different, the drum beat's different, but it's very melodic, it's very vocal driven, it's very song based. So it's cool to see how all these genres are just like infusing and growing. I'm so inspired by your vision, so inspired by your mission. Like, I can feel the energy and I can see you light up when you talk about it. And I'm curious though, because you also said that you've really had to fight, and it obviously, it hasn't been an easy journey. Was there ever a moment where you were ready to throw in the towel?
Never. I mean, that stuff just doesn't really run through my head. As I said, it's been extremely stressful. It's been a hill to climb, basically. But every time that I've been knocked to the ground or punched in the gut and been put, brick wall after brick wall in front of me, I may have a moment that, I sit down and I, think about things, but I get right back up, dust myself off, and keep it moving. Because I have a goal. Again, I'm that girl who was born in Iran. I don't think any of these things were in the cards for me. And I changed my fate by being in the land of opportunity. And, I've created my own American dream, and I'm following it. And I'm going to make sure everyone else that I can help give this opportunity to has that. So for me, it's a different thing, just coming from a Middle Eastern country or a third world country and seeing things in my eyes, I think it is the difference between me and a lot of other people. And my goals are definitely different, and I will not take no for an answer. I will push and push until I do what needs to be done. And then when I'm old and gray, I would like to come and, attend some of these events again and see hardstyle music and dance with the crowd and just be so happy that all of my hard work, is continuing on beyond me, so it's way bigger than myself. And I just want to make sure that what I started basically 15 years ago continues for as long as it can. And it's doing really well at the moment. So I'm really happy, but it's definitely come with its, negativity and hardships. So many hardships. Like, people have no idea the stuff that I've gone through. And some may sit there and think that, oh, she's on top. She has nothing to worry about. It has not been like that. I've literally had to, again, fight for everything I have. Tooth and nail. I am being completely honest with everyone. Tooth and nail. And it's still a challenge. It's still a fight. But by God, I'm going to get to my goals. It's going to happen.
Ladies and gentlemen, and everybody in between, that is what I call the headliner mindset right there. What have been some of the challenges that you've encountered that you've had to fight tooth and nail through?
Well, not being taken seriously, in the beginning or whatever. I had like a lot of people in the beginning come and, the male DJs stand behind me trying to make fun of me when I was spinning. And then I literally had one of them pull me aside after a set and said, my God, I'm literally eating my words right now because I stood behind you talking all sorts of shit. And then I witnessed what you did, and I'm in awe. I'm sorry for thinking anything that I thought about you before. So that has happened a lot, I tell you. There's also this, boys club in EDM that I'm not a part of. I'm still not a part of. And it's been really difficult trying to, be basically an artist in this industry all by yourself and not being supported really by anybody and just kind of being alone. I see all of my colleagues, collaborating with each other and, doing back-to-backs and all of that. And you don't see any of that really happening with the female artists. And this is the stuff that I've had to deal with or being overlooked a lot for different events and stuff because, I'm just a girl from America. I'm not some European guy from, Netherlands, who's a part of maybe bigger agencies or bigger labels and stuff like that. So it's been really difficult. But again, I don't let these negative things get to me. I find a way for myself to present myself to my audience and keep it moving, honestly. If you like to, be around me and contribute to what I'm doing, then yay. But if you think that I'm a female and I'm kind of like worthless because I'm a female in EDM, then okay, that's you and you do you and I do me and whatever. But, it happens still till today. Like if you look at Hardstyle, there is barely any female artists in Hardstyle. And it sucks.
Yeah.
It hurts me to see that. And I think if the Hardstyle Boys Club would open themselves up a little bit more and respect the female artists who are really trying their very best to be in this industry, I think it would be so much better for the world. But, I don't really have a lot of expectations from others. If you want to, yay. If you don't want to, that's okay too. I'm still going to do what I'm going to do, and I'm going to help everyone out the way I can. But I just wish in general this type of mindset would change, because females do have a place in EDM in general, not just hardstyle, and they should be welcomed and respected for who they are. And I really hope that these things change. I know that, Insomniac really supports female artists, which is so great. I did mention this, that EDC Mexico had 70 female artists playing it, which is, I don't know any other festival throughout the world that did something like this. So they were the first. And then EDC Las Vegas, I counted 77 female DJs. There might be more, actually. Wow. I'm not sure. Some pictures weren't there, but it means the world to me. And I feel like by Insomniac leading by example, it's going to, change our world for the better. It might take a little bit of time for everyone else to kind of come to the party and start doing the same. But boy, Insomniac is the best. I mean, you guys just make the female artists so happy, and thank you for the incredible support that you give all of us. I mean, from a hardstyle artist to the other genres of EDM, which might be more mellow and more popular. All of us get to have a place with them, and it's just so amazing to see. So there's a lot of ups and downs, but the ups are so sweet.
Yeah And what message do you have for the other up-and-coming female DJs and artists that might be encountering some of the challenges of the EDM Boys Club?
I don't want you guys to feel that you're not wanted. You are absolutely wanted. I want you. I really want you to be there. I know there's so many fans out there that want you to be there. And it's okay that if you're not a part of the boys club, you can still do your own thing and present yourself to the promoters, to the fans, and make your own place in these events and clubs. You don't really need anyone else to help you get to where you want. Although it's nice when you have that help and a lot of different doors open for you when you get that help, but not having it is okay too. Look at me. I barely had it, and I am where I am today. So it's definitely a possibility. I don't ever want you to think that, they don't want me, or this is not an industry for me. So I should just, give up and go do something else and not be in the public eye. Really try your best. But because of the whole situation, you have to make sure that you're the best at what you do. I mean, everyone's like, really looking at you and really trying to judge you for everything. So you got to make sure that, as I've said a lot, that you are the best at your craft. You have to make sure that you are a true professional and you understand what you're doing, whether you're, playing in front of a crowd or standing in the back with other artists or just in general business of, your day to day. Be a true professional and don't look at this industry as, oh, I'm going to party. This is just party. No, like I barely drink. I don't do any drugs. I go to work. I try to get proper sleep. I try to eat well. Everything has to be right because this is a real job. And I didn't come into DJing to party and go meet dudes and, drink a whole bunch and do a lot of drugs and just have fun. Just make sure that you're a professional. You know what you're doing. You're the best at your craft. And if no one's letting you into their little club or clique, it's okay. You are enough for your fans. Just do what you do and make sure you put your all into it.
Just a little sidebar. I'm so excited for these amazing clips that we're going to get to share with people because this is fucking fire and people need to hear this. But yeah, seriously, such an important and powerful message. And yeah, again, I just love seeing how much of a leader you are in this space for the hardstyle scene in general, for women, female artists in general as well. Like, you're a fucking powerhouse. And it's felt. It's very felt. I know everybody that's listening to this feels that as well. What kind of advice do you have just for artists in general? Because just being an artist in general is hard. Like, just starting there, right? So just for everybody out there that is pursuing the artist path, what kind of advice do you have for them? What are some things that they should know as they pursue this path and this journey?
Well, everything that I kind of said about the females trying to be in this industry kind of applies to anybody, honestly. Again, you have to be the best at what you do. There's a lot of competition in this industry right now. And if you just want to half-ass something, it's not going to fly. If you want to, just go into a club, drink, pick up chicks and stuff like that, you might not get past your third set. Going on stage and being completely drunk off your ass also doesn't work. Nobody wants to hear, a track played 2-3 times in a row because you forgot you played it.
Yeah.
Or, things of that nature. Make sure that, you produce your own music. Make sure that you're always professional. Make sure you are, playing nice with your colleagues and, build a good reputation for yourself when it comes to that. Make sure you are kind to your fans. Those fans do not owe you shit. Okay? You have to earn them. Like I have earned every single one of my fans. My fans are my friends. I love seeing them at events. We have so much fun together. I always try to make sure after my set, I go and I talk to them. I take all the pictures they want. I sign whatever they want because you know what? I want them at the end of the day to get their money's worth. You paid that ticket to come and see me, and I want you to have the best time in the world. And that's the mindset that I think all the other artists need to have, or new up and coming artists need to have, because, again, there's a lot of competition in this industry and the fans don't owe you anything. You have to earn every single one of them, and don't ever act like you're better than them because you're not. We're all the same. I'm just happen to be standing in front of you playing some badass music. So, you could shake that ass and have a couple of drinks with your friends and have fun. And, as long as you go into this industry having this type of mindset, it will be good. You will be successful. But, don't come in here cocky. Park that shit outside the door and then come inside, because the EDM world is very different to all the other genres in the world. We have like a code, the plur thing means the world to me. I even have a song called Plur that kind of explains it. And, have that plur mindset and you'll be good.
I'm so glad you bring that up, because I do come from, that era where I think plur was a bit more prominent of an ethos around dance music culture, right? Peace, love, unity, respect. And it is that code, right? It is the sort of code of conduct, and that is embedded into the DNA of the culture of the dance music industry. And I like hearing people say that word and bring it up. I interviewed Laid Back Luke yesterday, and he brought it up. He had brought it up briefly. I didn't go into it with him, but even right in the very beginning, he said that, and I was like, "Oh yeah, like you get it." And I think it actually is up to us, And when I say us, I mean someone that's been in the scene for also 15 years as well. I don't know, to just start saying that word more and using that word more, because I think there actually is a generation, and there might be people listening right now that actually didn't even know what that word was or what that acronym stands for. So I love that you're using that, and it's important for us to bring that back. You know?
Always.
Peace, love,
Always.
unity, respect.
That's what we should go by all the time. At every event when you go that you should have that in your mind before you walk in. Because I mean, EDM festivals are where I feel the safest, honestly. I really do.
Yeah.
I walk through the crowds like at EDC, and it's no big deal. I know no one's gonna hurt me. Nothing's gonna happen. Someone bumps into me, they're gonna give me a hug. Are you okay? Is everything fine? That's what we have been and want to be and want to continue. So I'd like everyone to keep that in mind.
Yeah. Keep it in mind. Like when you go to an event, and also, you know, carry it with you into the rest of your life. Right?
Yes.
Go to those events, let loose, leave the world behind, have a night, whatever your thing is, but also like charge up on that energy that's in that room. Charge up of the energy that's at that festival. And it doesn't leave when you walk out that door. I think that's, you know, our responsibility is to also carry that energy with us and just sprinkle our little fairy magic around the rest of the world that hasn't been exposed to this magical wonderland of Plur. And, you know, it's like, if we're not carrying it with us, then we're missing the point, you know? And,
that's exactly right.
Yeah. Well, you guys, I told you, she's a fucking rock star. She's a rock star, not only on stage, killing it in front of thousands of people, but she was a total rock star on this podcast as well. And it was really cool to get to know you more and just to, you know, really hear about your vision and what's driving you. And I'm walking away from this episode very inspired and just really excited about, you know, your vision and the energy that you're bringing to the scene. I just think it's really beautiful. I think you are an incredibly special artist. So thank you for hopping on today and sharing a lot of these really important messages with people.
Oh, it was my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
I've already won. I've already won.